being able to come from Paulsboro, and it's a small town. It's a tight-knit community with a lot of kids that, look up to me and look up to Kevin and Gerald and Julian and Alex. All of us come from that small town, and we're able to make it, to the NFL. And that's a place where a lot of kids, dream to be. So the fact that they can see so many people from their neighborhood make it and come back and give them the inspiration to one day they could do the same thing, just means the world to be able to interact with the kids. I've coached some of them, coaching Little League football, and it's just heartwarming to be able to put a smile on those kids' faces.
It was amazing just hearing from the people that we were talking to at the event. I mean, it's like there's magic in that area. It's like Paulsboro Magic. There's so many successes from there. And I heard how, they're legends, you want to go there from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, as a small kid, you grow up in a town with such a winning tradition. Like our sports is just second to none in New Jersey, and then people are amazed because how small of a town we are. We just have that. I don't know, it's just that aura around us that we win, we breed champions, and when you drive into the town, the first sign you see is home of champions.
Yeah, we're there this year. We're there at the high school games.
Yeah, we're definitely going to one. Actually, more than one. Actually,
more than one.
Actually, we're gonna go to all the games, all the home games. There you go. But
do it.
So Isaac, so growing up in Paulsboro High School in New Jersey, and what was it like growing up in that town? And when did you start realizing that you wanted to get involved in sports? Obviously, being an athlete, and growing up, before choosing football, did you get to play any other sports before football?
No, football was my first love. My mother actually introduced me to the game at a young age. I mean, as young as 1 year old. Like as 1 year old, she would sit me in front of the TV, and she said I would watch every game that came on, all the college games on Saturday, all the NFL games on Sunday, and the TV was my babysitter. She said I would never move growing up as a kid, and I just have those memories of as a kid not even knowing if this was the Jets or the Eagles playing.
Right.
And I just knew the team was green, and I would just sit and watch the games because I was such a big Eagles fan. And my mother was an Eagles fan. And, just growing up in the town where I had a lot of family who played at Paulsboro High School. And, those guys were like NFL players to me, and being able to go out to the practices as a young kid. I would go to the high school practices in the summertime and just ask to be like a ball boy and just catch the ball or clean up after practice just to be around the high school players.
That's so smart. And your kids are ready to be, like right now, they're ready for the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids are following in my footsteps. That's all they know, football. I was just playing football with them just now before I got on.
So,
That's
awesome. So speaking of role models, obviously your mom was a role model, and other than that, and did you look up to any role models in the NFL? Would you say that Jerome Bettis was one of your role models growing up?
I wasn't too much of a Steelers fan. I was pretty much Eagles. So
Reggie,
oh geez.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I just got a phone call. Jerome Bettis, I always respected him as a player. I always thought he was a great running back. But growing up, my favorite player was Barry Sanders. I wore number 20 in high school actually because of him, and number 20 in college because of him. He was always my idol growing up. I loved his style of play. I try to mimic it. As I was younger, I would even still to this day put on Barry Sanders highlights for my kids to watch.
Wow.
That's fantastic. How did it feel when you got the call to join the NFL, which you had been watching since you were 1 year old?
Oh, it was crazy. I was actually in California with my cousin. I was working out at USC. Who is calling me? I was actually working out with my cousin husband, Todd McNair, who actually worked at camp. Okay. He's the running back coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. I don't know who this is blowing my phone up. My cousin is actually he's I call him my uncle. He's married to my cousin. He's a running back coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And at that time, he was the coach for the USC, running back coach for USC. He had
Okay.
Coach Reggie Bush and all of those guys. And cool story about that was when I was younger, I was probably in high school, maybe a sophomore, junior year in high school. He took me with him to the Cleveland Browns minicamp. And Bruce Arians was coaching Cleveland Browns. He was the running back coach. So I was about 15, 16 years old, and I got the opportunity to sit at their mini camp and, talk to players. Like, I went to the cafeteria, talked with some players and talked with some coaches. He introduced me to Bruce Arians, and he told Bruce Arians, "This is my nephew. He's going to make it one day. He's really good." And then fast forward to 2009, Bruce Arians was bringing me into the Pittsburgh Steelers as a free agent. Wow. And, so that was just a pretty cool story. And when I got the phone call, Ty was like, "I told you, man, I got you, man." So, I always looked up to him as well, as a young kid, because he was in the NFL when I was younger. So he was someone else that I looked up to, and he always had my back and always was there for me when I needed somebody. And when I got the phone call, me and my cousin hugged and we cried, and it was just a surreal feeling.
Wow.
So you were immersed in it. You were going.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a small world. Topic there. Now working with Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because Bruce Arians coached Todd and Kevin Ross when they played for Temple. So they created that bond, and now Bruce Arians is coaching the Bucks, and he brought both of them in. So, it's just a small world, man. Bruce Arians is the guy, man. Bruce Arians always looks out for his people.
I mean, after this weekend, seeing all the Bucks, like all the coaches there, I'm like, they are strong. That is like, that's big heat.
It's a family.
Yeah.
Before we get to your NFL career, I want to ask you about your recruiting process back in college. And before choosing Bowie State, how many offers did you get? And what made you choose Bowie State University?
Well, I had offers from like Pitt, Temple, Syracuse, but when I didn't qualify with my SAT score, I kind of was left to have to go to a Division II school, which made me kind of down on myself. You try to, even now, like when you're talking to kids now and you're trying to explain to them how important school is, they really don't understand it. And as a young kid, I really didn't understand it. And that's another reason why I try to give back to the youth and mentor them and try to get them to understand that school and football has to go hand in hand. There's not one without the other. And if you don't take the school seriously, you're going to make it harder on yourself. And I made it harder on myself. I went through it. I still was able to make it to my ultimate goal. But, if I could help a kid, just one, to do the right thing, go on the right path, I feel like I did my job.
100%. And what you said to them on the field last weekend was it's key. I mean, like the school, the grades, it's the gatekeeper to get to fulfill your dreams with football.
Absolutely. And even if you don't make it to the NFL, it's all about furthering your education, getting that degree.
Absolutely.
So obviously, once you got drafted, what was it like for your represent your high school, Paulsboro High School? Obviously, they have had a lot of great NFL talent, including you. But what was it like just to represent them, to be able to get to your goal and make them proud?
It was amazing. It was my mom's ultimate goal to, see her son in the NFL. She introduced me to the game of football. If I wanted to have a catch, she would be the person to go outside and have a catch with me and things like that. And, it was just so like, feel like my dream was really coming true. I feel like I was actually dreaming. My first week of practice in the locker room, I'm sitting down, I'm looking at Hines Ward and Troy Polamalu and James Harrison. And these are like, these are Hall of Fame guys, that you're sitting down with. And I'm just a free agent rookie who's not really expected to make it past 2-3 weeks here. And just being able to be around those guys and, be in the locker room and, have those relationships with them is some moments that, I'll cherish forever.
That's amazing. I'm sure your mom was just elated for you.
Yeah, her dream was always to go to a Super Bowl. And so ever since I was, 5, 6 years old, she would be, son, are you going to take me to the Super Bowl one day? And I was like, I'm going to get you to the Super Bowl one day. And when we were running out the tunnel in the Super Bowl, getting ready to play the Packers, I was in the tunnel and one of the players grabbed me and was like, yo, your mom, your mom. So when I looked up at her, she was going nuts, like screaming crazy. Her head looked like it was going to pop off. And at that moment right there, like I shed a tear and was just so happy that I was able to, have that moment with my mother and make her dream come true along with mine.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
So obviously, not you guys had a talented roster from 2009 to 2013. The Pittsburgh Steelers remind me of a grittiness, toughness team that never gives up in games. And you guys I think you guys have the greatest fan base, right, in Pittsburgh, in the NFL, in my opinion, when it comes to the atmosphere. And when you were playing throughout your career, if you look at the roster, I have it pulled up here right now, and you have Ike Taylor, you got Ryan Clark, one of the best safeties in the game, Joey Galloway, and you have Heath Miller, and you play with Big Ben. What was it like going into the locker room? Obviously, you just mentioned Hines Ward and Troy Polamalu, but not only them, you guys had collective players in that locker room.
It was great because a lot of those guys were like, older and mature guys. Sometimes, nowadays you'll get into a locker room where, it's a bunch of young guys and not too much of leadership. Being around them, it showed me what a leader was, how to lead the team. And, and I took that with me, some of those guys left and retired. And then I became a leader in the locker room myself and the leader in the running backs room to the point where I was, was getting votes for the team to be a captain. And, I had talks with Mike Tomlin and he was, just proud of where I came from to, where I was an undrafted free agent. And, most undrafted free agents don't make it in the NFL. And then I became the starting running back. So, I was proud of myself, to be able to be in that locker room around that type of caliber players, but hold my own and, stand my ground and have my own stability within the team.
Yeah, that is something to be proud of with the free agent. I just had that conversation with Justin Renfro. That's big. And being in the locker room, that brotherhood, that fellowship, I think that's so special. Was there anybody in particular that you felt more connected to when you got there or over time?
Yeah, it was a tight end. His name was David Johnson. He actually was the 7th overall pick. So he was the last pick, and then I was a free agent. So when we got there, they kind of roomed us together. All the rookies have to come in, and they put us in a apartment together, and me and him kind of just clicked. He was from down south. I was from up north. We didn't really know too much about each other's, growing up and upbringing because it's a difference between growing up down south and growing up here. We got to know each other. And we were, our families were a lot similar. And we actually wind up getting an apartment together during the season and moving and rooming together and being roommates. And I was in his wedding when he got married. So we wind up becoming really close friends.
That's great. And how was it conditioning for training camp versus when you're conditioning once you got into the NFL and you're there?
It's a lot different, because when you come in as your rookie year, I feel like you're in the best shape of your life. Like you're all ripped up. But when you're in the NFL, when you're there, what I did was I trained with our trainer. Most of the time, some guys go out and hire other guys, but I don't think it's as intense. Like when you're there, it's just, keeping your body, in a certain type of condition, but you don't want to overwork yourself because the season is so long.
Right.
But, when you come in your rookie year, I mean, you are working, you're ripped up, you're running the fastest that you ever been. After that, it's about just sustaining everything.
Yeah, and that balance, I imagine.
Yeah.
So taking back to that Super Bowl run, obviously that's the biggest game of the year, and obviously it didn't turn out well for you guys. But take me back to the run. What was the message that Coach Tomlin gave you guys? And obviously it's hard to go even to the Super Bowl. But what was your guys' mentality in that season, and what do you guys focus on? And just take me back to that Super Bowl run.
I remember we had a really good team. I mean, if you look back at our team, our defense was amazing. Our offense was amazing, and we just had to stay focused. The whole thing was everybody needed to lock in, and once the playoffs started, that's what I meant by guys being leaders and having older guys in the locker room. Because during the season there were times where guys would go out on like a Friday night, and then chill out on Saturday and have a game Sunday. But we had a team, players only meeting, and Hines Ward stood up and said, "Listen, there's no going out. And it's playoffs. There's no going out. Everybody needs to be focused and on their A game so we can reach our ultimate goal." And everybody respected that. And if you were caught out, it wasn't going to be good. So that those guys, having leaders in a locker room like that goes a long way. And sometimes in the NFL, you don't have that. Guys will still be partying, and when you don't have those leaders, it's hard to win. And Mike Tomlin just told us, stay focused, stay on the path, control what we can control, and don't beat ourselves. And it took us all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's excellence. That Hines Ward standing up and you guys all doing that. That's how you get there. It's total focus.
So look at all right. So in that Super Bowl game, what was the mindset going into that game against the Packers? And obviously you're facing Aaron Rodgers and the Packers defense and offense. But what goes to your mind? What was it like, the atmosphere like in that Super Bowl?
The atmosphere was crazy. I was nervous. I didn't really know how much I was going to play because that was actually my first year. The year before, I was on a practice squad. And so the year we went to the Super Bowl was actually my first year actually being on the team.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, my playing time increased year after year until I became a starter. But that year I was mainly used as on third downs and third and short yardage. Yeah. So I wasn't sure how much I was going to play. And I remember being really nervous, but also, excited and ready for my number to be called because I knew that I could perform. And, when I got in, I did very well. Unfortunately, the game didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but, I was still blessed and still, grateful to have that opportunity.
That's incredible.
So I want to ask you though, looking back at your career, how grateful are you to be in this position? Obviously, you held a lot of records at BSU for rushing yards, rushing attempts. So how grateful are you to be in this position? And your NFL career was a great one too. Obviously, 5 years, over 1,000 yards, and a lot of rushing touchdowns. How grateful are you to be in this position and to be able to play the game you love, make your parents proud, your mother, especially your mom, who pushed you to play football? And how grateful are you?
I'm very grateful. God's been good to me. I wouldn't ask for it, any other way. I'm just grateful that I'm able to now transfer this knowledge over to my kids and to other, kids out in the community. I'm coaching at Defford right now, at Defford Little League football. And I'm coaching my son Hayden's team, who's 10 years old. So I'm coaching the 10 and 11-year-old team this year. And I'm just grateful that all the knowledge that I have, that I'm able to give it back and, also give the knowledge to the coaches. A lot of coaches are, may have played in Little League or high school, but the knowledge that I have, I'm just willing to give it out. I just want everybody to have the knowledge of the game that I have. And I'm also still learning. I don't know it all, so I still do coaching clinics and still grateful to be able to go out and learn from other coaches, from other Little League coaches, to high school coaches, to NFL coaches. And that's one thing I tell people, that you can't be complacent, can't think you know it all. No matter who you are, what you are, you can be Bill Belichick every day. Every year, every day, you can still learn something different, and you'll be surprised who you can learn it from. So always be open-minded, about the knowledge of the game, because the game is forever evolving.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever think, take me back to your last year, did you ever think that you could have played for at least a couple more years, or were you set on retirement that time, on your last year?
Well, I actually was forced to retire because of my spinal cord injury.
Wow.
I didn't know that it was that serious, but I'm like every time I got hit, I was getting a burning sensation all the way down to my fingertips. And then it's got to the point where it would just happen for no reason. So when the Steelers actually have released me, which I kind of really wasn't supposed to do while I was hurt, they released me, and I got a couple phone calls from the New England Patriots and the Ravens. The Ravens called first and wanted to sign me, but I knew I was hurt. But when the Steelers released me, they released me as healthy. So when you can't release a player that's hurt without paying them. So they released me as healthy. So when every other team thought that I was healthy, they called to sign me. Then I had to explain to them that I was hurt. And if I would have signed with another team, then the Steelers wouldn't have been liable for anything else that was wrong with me. So when I got released, I went and seen a doctor in California. He actually did Peyton Manning's neck surgery. So I was kind of optimistic really about, the whole thing. And when I went and seen him and they ran all the tests and everything, he sat me down, told me I could never play again. So that hurt. It hit hard because I knew teams wanted me. I knew I was staying in shape, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to get this handled, and I'll be back on the field. So when he told me I could never play again, it was kind of like, wow, I've been playing this game every year of my life since I was 5 years old, and it just was taken away from me just like that. And so, of course, I thought I could play, more years, but I knew my health was more important, and that's exactly why I didn't go to play for another team, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to. I had the possibility of being paralyzed. So my health was the most important.
The spinal cord is a serious thing, and I'm glad that you handled it and got it, operated on, and now you're healthy because you're giving back to the youth, and you're in great shape. I mean, you're still conditioned and leading these new kings up that will be stars themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I feel okay. I don't feel great, but I feel okay. I feel like a retired NFL running back.
One weekend with you guys on the field at your event last weekend, and in the hot sun, I thought, this is incredible. Like, I have such more respect for all the players when it's so much, and then you put on the pressure on the body. How does it feel now to be able to be on the field, to give back without the pressure of the professional, the big salaries, the whole team counting on you? How does it feel now to be out there with colleagues, with other professionals now without that pressure, where you're just giving back?
It feels great to just be able to give back without any expectations, really. And, you're doing everything out the goodness of your heart. Everything that we do now is just volunteer, and especially out there with the camp, it's volunteer. We hold a free camp. The kids don't have to pay for anything. We come out of our own pocket for food, DJs, all that. That's just out the kindness of our heart. And, there's no pressure. I coach Little League football. But believe it or not, there's a little bit of pressure now down there just because, people expect you to win because of, who you are or what you've done in the past. But far as me, I just talk to my kids and tell them, you just give 110%. I'm going to give you 110%, and whatever happens, happens. Victory is never promised, winning is never promised, but at the end of the day, as long as everybody's getting better, that's all I can ask for. And that's what satisfies me, is to know that every kid out there is becoming a better football player and a better person from my coaching.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for having us. It was such an honor to spend time with you, with your family, with all the coaches, to see the look on these kids' faces, just having that one-on-one interaction. And sometimes it's like the most love and attention that they've ever gotten, and they'll remember it for their whole life. So I applaud what you guys are doing, and thank you for including us on your event. Yeah,
I appreciate you guys coming out and supporting and showing love to us both days. We will be doing this every year that we can, and I hope you guys, can come out and support.
Yeah, we're going to be supporting throughout. We're going to keep supporting every year, and whenever you guys have the events, we're going to be coming out and helping you guys out. Events, hopefully, inspire kids too, and that's our main goal for the show, and to inspire. This show is for the youth too. I'm a big advocate in helping out kids, and especially if they want to get to their goals, and we got to find all of us as a community have to find a way to help these kids get to their goal. So
sports unites 100%. This gives a lot of children hope.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of coaching, obviously transitioning from your playing career to coaching, what's it like now coaching your son and all these young talented kids, and then being able to share your stories, your experiences in when you were playing? What's it like being a coach now?
I love being a coach. My first year done in the playing, I kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I just indulged myself in the coaching, and I went straight into Paulsboro Magic football. They were struggling at the time. They didn't even. I mean, I know you guys hear about our tradition in sports, and at that time we didn't have a little league football program in Paulsboro, and I was like, oh. And I was like, that's unheard of. Everybody's like, that's unheard of. And it was like, the kids just weren't coming out, or they were going to other places for whatever reason. And myself, and a couple other coaches, and, a lot of other people in the organization, we just started going door to door and handing out registration forms and picking kids up and, training kids in the summertime. Within 2 years, I was coaching the 7th to 8th grade team. I had like almost 40 kids on my team.
Wow.
And that was coming from like them having like 5 kids coming out for football. And, we helped bring the organization back. We won 3 straight championships. And then I wind up, I live in Deptford. So my son started playing in football in Deptford. I wind up moving over to Deptford, and I'm coaching when he was 7 years old. And 6 and 7 year, I coached a 6 and 7 year old team in the NFL Hall of Fame. They have a youth world championship tournament for teams all over the country. They came from as far as Hawaii to play in this tournament, and we actually won a world championship and won a world championship belt, and that was like winning the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna lie.
Whole thing sounds like a movie. This is
yeah,
awesome.
we won. We went to Ohio. All the parents, we all drove down to Ohio for the week. Yeah. And we won it. It was crazy. We beat a team from Cincinnati in the championship, and my son got MVP of the game.
Yeah.
And I actually got the belt. You guys want to see the belt?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Give me a second.
Awesome. It's like a movie. You're handing out flyers, then you're making it to the winning champions. It's just like their dad. I saw him catching passes too.
Yeah.
He's talented.
There you go. That jersey. I like that jersey there.
Yeah, you see. Well, here's our world championship belt.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yeah. We won that in 2008. And every coach, every kid was crying, full of tears of joy, crying, hugging, and it came on CBS. It was like on the app, but people were able to watch it and stream it. And we came back. We had like all these awards in the town. We went to town hall and they gave us proclamations. I mean, it was a big thing, and I was proud of those kids.
That's incredible. The blessings keep flowing in for you and for the fam.
Absolutely. So now my middle son, is his turn. He's coming up. He's 5 years old. So it's his turn to start shining now, Mr. Carter.
Yeah. So now we do this fun little segment on the show. It's called the rapid fire segment. You ready for this?
Give it to me.
All right, we're gonna start with your son. What's the scouting report on your son?
Huh?
What's the scouting report on your oldest son?
The scouting report on my oldest son is don't let him get to the outside, because he's really fast, and if he gets to the outside, you're not going to catch him. So a lot of teams just line up, and they'll have like 4 guys on the outside or each side and just try to force him to run in the middle. So that's one thing I try to work with him on, is trying to run up the middle, because he's getting older now. He can't just run around everybody.
Yeah.
Favorite NFL memory?
Favorite NFL memory is scoring and winning touchdown versus the Baltimore Ravens to win the conference championship.
Yeah.
The division championship.
It's always good to beat your division rival. There you go.
Absolutely.
So I gotta ask you. Obviously, it was an honor meeting your brother-in-law too, Julian Davenport, at the event, and he's such a great talent. And what's it like seeing him succeed on a high level? Obviously, just signed with the Colts, and I asked him. He's really excited about the Colts this year. And what's it like just seeing your brother-in-law just succeed in a high level?
Oh, it's amazing to see, him succeed and be in the NFL and do what he does. I always wish him the best. And, at one point in time, he was one of the kids at my camp. And that's how long I've been
Wow.
that's how long I've been doing it. Yeah, he was one of the kids at the camp. So, it's always a special place when you got somebody from Paulsboro to come up and, now he's my brother-in-law. So we're really close, and I just wish him the best.
What's your favorite activity to do with your family as a group?
As a group, I would like to say play football. My wife just sits on the side. I would say probably. I would say, yeah, she's amazing.
She's inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably, I would say probably just go to the beach, man. We have a good time at the beach.
That's great.
But we're still playing football at the beach while she's.
That's right. That's right. That's why you're a team of champions, a family of champions.
Absolutely.
Favorite memorable game that you played in college, and favorite memorable game that you played in high school, college, and the NFL.
High school, I would say probably my senior year, my final game. I broke the record for most touchdowns and for most touchdowns in one season.
Wow.
And the championship game, and then we won the championship game like 55-0.
Oh.
It was in the snow. They was going to cancel the game because it was like a really bad snowstorm, and the whole town came out and shoveled the field and shoveled the stand, so we were able to play, which was pretty cool. So that was definitely high school. College, I would have to say Morgan State. It was on ESPN. I ran a 99-yard touchdown.
Wow.
And right before the game, I got stung by a wasp on my tongue.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I'm not playing. I was like, I can't put my mouth, my tongue felt like it was this big.
Wow.
And I was like, dang, I need to get stung before every game. I ran for like 200 yards. Yeah, so those definitely are the most memorable games.
What's your favorite way to get like hyped up for a game or total focus for training, like with yourself or with the kids?
Listening to music. I like listening to Jadakiss. That's who gets me high. It's my favorite rapper.
Nice.
What was it like playing underneath Coach Mike Tomlin and a player like Big Ben?
Oh, it was great. Mike Tomlin is definitely a player's coach. He has that, relationship with the players. He comes, sits around the locker room and laughs and jokes. He has those personal relationships, and he's very understanding of your personal time and your family. You don't get that with a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches treat you like, football is who you are. Football isn't who you are. Football is what you do. And that's a lot of things. That's something that he preached on. And Big Ben was awesome. He was awesome in the locker room. And we actually hung out a couple of times outside of football. And, he was a good leader on the field. And one thing about him is he's not too much of a vocal leader, but with his play, you always want to follow him because he's going to leave it all out on the field.
Yeah. What was your favorite moment joking around in the locker room or with the guys? Like, give us a moment, set a little scene for us.
Yeah.
The camaraderie. I wanted to hear about the camaraderie on the field or in the locker room.
Just being able to play all the games. We would have pool table, ping pong table, shuffleboard table. Then we turned the trash can into a basketball court.
Wow.
We would play around the world where it was taped, different levels that you make. And we would have tournaments, pool tournaments and shuffleboard tournaments. Everybody talking trash, betting money. You got guys in the back gambling, playing cards, dominoes. I mean, you walk in there, you thought you was at a barbecue. That's just how. What'd you say?
Were you schooling them?
I wasn't the greatest at anything. I was I was okay at shuffleboard and pool, but I mean, we had some guys in there that was some pool sharks, man.
That's funny.
Charlie Batch was pretty good at pool.
That's right. You played with Charlie Batch. Yeah, that another great quarterback there. But I want to ask you, you gotta reach out to Troy Polamalu and bring back those classic commercials he used to do with the head and shoulder.
With the head and shoulder. I saw him on one recently, not too long ago. He was on there with Patrick Mahomes. I said, look at Troy.
Hey, would you do a commercial with Troy Polamalu?
Man, I'd do a commercial with anybody.
Hey. Isaac, what advice would you give to the guys that are now in the NFL, the young players, whether it's a rookie or a guy who's been there? What advice would you give to them?
I would say just work as hard as possible so you don't have any regrets. Some guys leave and be like, oh, if I only did this, if I only worked out more, if I only was more focused, just to stay focused on what's most important. Try not to lose sight on your family and loved ones while doing so, because a lot of people get caught up in the hype and, get caught up trying to work so hard. And, but I would just say, just live with no regrets and, but just stay focused on the task at hand, because there's always a younger guy coming up, to take your spot. And if you're not working hard, it can happen. And, but at the same time, keep your family and your loved ones close to you, because when football's over, that's all you have.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well said there. And as you know, I'm a Cowboy fan. And what are your thoughts on Zeke as a running back? Do you think he can have a bounce back year from last year?
Zeke's aging, and there's no position in the NFL like running back when it comes to aging. So I think Zeke's a great running back. But when you get those miles on those legs, they just don't turn like they used to. I'm hoping that he has a good season. I'm a Zeke fan. I'm not a Cowboy fan, but I do root for certain players.
Yeah.
But I think Zeke is a great football player. So, we only time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
When you were injured, how were you able to cope? What advice would you give to someone who might experience an injury, just like grounding yourself and keeping that belief system and motivation when you're healing?
Mm-hmm. The way I coped with it, I just engulfed myself and my family and just tried to stay positive and, spend a lot of time with my wife, who at the time we weren't married yet, and my son, who I only had Hayden at the time. And I just stayed around them and, did vacations and just gave myself some time to heal and to let my mind clear and, not do anything dumb or act out or act irrational about anything. And I just stayed focused and, just try to come up with a plan of, what I wanted to do next.
Yep. Smart.
Funniest teammate that you play with?
Funniest teammate, I would have to say James Harrison.
Okay.
Favorite
James
movie?
Harrison. My favorite movie?
Yeah.
My favorite. I don't know. I have so many. Every time I go to my wife, I'll say something in my favorite movie, and then next time I say something else, she was like, "You got like 100 favorite movies." I can do like a top 5. I could probably do would be The Program, Coming to America, Friday,
Yeah.
Life, and Harlem Nights.
Those are all great. We would love to do an interview with you and your wife too.
Yeah.
Together. I love the relationship.
So before we get to the last few things, who do you have in the NBA Finals? I'm sure you've been watching the NBA playoffs, and for me, I got the Hawks and Suns. But
yeah.
All right, you got the Hawks and Suns. I'm gonna say the same thing because I don't even like basketball, so I don't know.
Oh.
Everybody gets mad at me because all I do is down basketball players. So like, basketball is soft. My son just asked to play basketball. I said, "You're wrestling, son. We don't do no basketball."
Well, you eat, sleep, breathe, and live football, so that's understandable.
I just don't like everybody falling all over the place. Ouch, he fouled me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, let me ask you this then. What do you think? Obviously, Mike Tomlin obviously back at it again as a coach, and Big Ben still going at it too. What are your thoughts on this year's Steelers and obviously your former team? And are you planning on going to games this year, watching them in person?
I really haven't had any plans on going to any games this year. I think they have the team to be, pretty good. They actually were undefeated for a while last year, and then it's injuries kind of, the injury bug hit hard, and it was hard to bounce back from that. I think long as they stay healthy, they have a couple key guys, older guys that's going out, like Pouncey retired. They no longer have David DeCastro. Mm-hmm. And like I said before, having those older guys that's leaders in the locker room matters. So we'll see how the young guys are able to step up.
And I assume that you're rooting for the Eagles too, right?
Hold on, it was frozen. What'd you say?
I said, and I assume that you're rooting for the Eagles as well, right?
Yeah, I tell everybody I'm a Steagles fan.
And Bucks. We're giving it up to Kevin Ross too.
Yeah, Bucks.
Oh, and let me give a shout out to the ladies that were there, to Coach Mickey, Lori Locust. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was super amazing that those ladies came.
Like heroes.
Yeah, that was awesome. And NFL Films followed them around, and the kids got to get some shine with the NFL Films too, off the strength of them being there. And they were super awesome. Kevin Ross, he does a lot. He's been doing things like this for the youth since I was a kid. And it's a funny thing is I have a picture of me as a kid with Kevin Ross and Todd McNair with their jerseys on doing a camp in Paulsboro.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah. So
wow,
that's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That should be on the wall. I love it.
So
I posted it on Facebook one day. Everybody was like, wow.
I have to.
So the last two things here before we let you go, our team is part of this foundation called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach, and we're trying to help him prevent human trafficking. He's now the offensive coordinator at Tennessee State with Eddie George, and we're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, make sure the community is safe. So I'll send you the page so you and your wife can check it out.
All right, thank you.
And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for their services, and especially through this trying times. And I know it's not easy for everyone. And I'll just say thank you. And they are the true heroes, and there were superheroes is definitely them. And once again, just thank you for all their time and dedication to the well-beings of everyone. Also, one more shout out to my mom.
Yeah,
Leslie Redman. It's her birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday!
It's my mom's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my mom's birthday today. So I'll be going over doing some ice cream and cake with her today.
Oh, nice.
She's 59.
Tell her we said happy birthday.
Tell her we said happy birthday.
I will.
Hey, so what a treat for her to have this interview on her birthday.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so well said, and there it is. That wraps up episode 836 with our friend Isaac Redman, former NFL running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Go follow him on all social media formats. He runs a great football camp. Go check it out. We were there last weekend. It's called the Legends, a football camp at Paulsboro High School. They're doing amazing things with these kids, and we saw it firsthand. So please go check it out next year. And also he's a coach. He coaches his son now. So keep up the great work, Isaac. We would like to have you back on the show so you can meet the full team, and also your wife if she's up to it too. But you guys stay safe and keep up the great work.
All right, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right, see y'all. All right, I'll be in touch.
Sounds good.